Hello everyone, this is Clarix and today we are working with adding or subtracting fractions. In this case, we first going to work with this set of fraction and then we're going to work with this one separately afterwards. Okay, so we have negative 2 over 15 plus 3 over 21. Okay, so I want you to recognize something. That negative value belongs to the numerator. This is considered the numerator. This is considered the denominator. So usually that negative number in between a fraction is correlated to the numerator. Okay, so now we are going to work with this by finding the lower common denominator. Lower common denominator, because these two numbers are too large for us to be thinking about a large number that can be divisible by both. Unless you are naturally good at math or had so much mathematical experience that you can do it in your head, congratulations if you're able to. But in this case, we are going to use this method just to be sure. So that's going to be 15 times 21, which is multiplying the denominators. You're going to have that the lower common denominator is going to be equal to 315. And that number we're going to use it in order to make these denominator the same. And therefore, we're going to be able to add these two numerator later on, and I'm going to show you how. So the first step is to sort of multiply 315 by each set of the fraction, 315. But in the faster way, in my opinion, is to divide this number by that number, and that's going to give you the opposite number, which is 21. And then you're going to multiply 21 by whatever is left here, right? So you're going to multiply 21 by negative 2. You're going to keep the plus sign, and later you are going to do the same process on the other side. So you are going to divide 315 by 21, and that's going to be the opposite number, which is 15. That 15 you're going to multiply by whatever we have left here, which is a positive 3. And then we're going to make both values 315, because those are our lower common denominator. Okay, now that we have these two common denominator, we can combine the whole fraction. But beforehand, we're going to carefully multiply these two numbers. This is going to give you negative 42 plus 45. When you multiply these two numbers, be careful. When you multiply different signs, such as a positive value or at times a negative value, such as this, is always going to give you negative. Multiplying different signs will give you negative. Multiply the same sign will give you always positive. Okay, so now we have the lower common denominator. Now that it's common, you can combine. And the final step will be to carefully evaluate this. When you plug it into the calculator, be careful because there are two signs that look like a minus and like negative sign. So usually the small sign is considered the negative sign, and that's the one that you are going to use from your calculator. So you're going to put negative 42 plus 45. That's going to be equal to 3 over 315. Now, as I showed you before, we're going to search for two numbers for a couple of numbers, right? that are divisible by 3, 15, and by 3. Okay, in order to simplify as much as possible. So we know that 3 is a prime number. Prime numbers are numbers that are only divisible by itself and by 1. So 3 is divisible by 3 and 3 is divisible by 1. We're not going to use 1 because otherwise the whole fraction is going to remain the same. So we're going to try to divide 315 by 3. Okay, I use my calculator. I'm going to put 315 by 3. 315 by 3. I almost made a mistake. I put a 5. So you got to be careful. That's going to be 1 of 5. And your answer is going to be a fraction. It's going to be, so you divide 3 here because 3 is the common number that could be divisible by 3. And that could be divisible by 315. And then your final answer is going to be approximately, every time you have fractions or you have decimals, you put the approximate sign, right? You're going to have, because 3 over 3 is 1, you're going to put 1 in the numerator and 1 of 5 on the denominator. And that's how your answer is going to look like. Take a photo screen, pause it, go back if you need to, because we're going to work with the second set of fractions. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we have this fraction 5 over 6 plus, we have a parenthesis here, negative 1 over 2. So the first step that you have to do is that you know the rules of operations, you know the order of operation. You need to work with whatever contains a parenthesis. So you're going to multiply these two signs. Remember, multiply different signs such as positive times negative will always give you negative. Okay, so you are going to multiply and that's going to give you a negative. So in reality, the new equation is going to look like this. It's going to be 5 over 6 minus 1 over 2. And now we can solve for this fraction. We know that 6, for the lower common denominator, we know that 6 is divisible by 2. And therefore, we're going to consider 6 our lower common denominator because it's a number that is divisible by 6 and is divisible by 2, right? And we're going to multiply 6 as we have done before. But the trick that I love to use is dividing these two numbers. In this case, it's going to give me 1. Okay, I'm going to use another color because I don't think yellow is the best one to do in this case. Okay, so 6 divided by 6 is going to be 1. We're going to multiply that 6 by whatever value is left here, and that value is going to be 5. Okay, our common denominator is going to still be 6. We're going to leave it there, and I'm going to use a pattern of colors here, and we're going to keep the minus sign there, minus, and on the other side we're going to do the same process. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. So it's going to be 3 times whatever is inside in this, whatever is left here, right? So you got to be careful with the sign. That negative is included, okay, negative 1. And therefore, we keep, by the way, we keep the 6. That's how we get common denominators, lower common denominators, okay? Because they're common, they're the same. We found them, yay. Now we can combine the whole thing, but we have to be very cautious with the process because we need to multiply 1 times 5, which is going to be 5. And we got to be careful here because when we multiply the same sign, even if they are, let's say, let me use another color, negative times a negative is always going to give you positive. Positive times a positive is always going to give you positive. When the signs are multiplying or dividing each other and they are the same, they're always going to give you positive. You should write that somewhere. So in this case, we're going to have positive 3. So adding 3 plus 3 over 6. And then we add those two values and we're going to have 8 over 6. When we simplify, we put always the lowest number on top, the highest number on the bottom. We think of a couple of numbers that could be divisible by 6, 3, 2, 1, 6, and so on, right? But we don't use 1 or 6 in this case because 6 is not really divisible by 8. I think we can all agree with that. So we eliminate 6 and we're going to use the two ones that are left. We know that 8 is not divisible by 3. 8 is only divisible by 2 in this case. So that is the common value that both numbers can be simplified by. So we're going to divide by 2, and your final answer is going to be an approximate value of 4 over 3. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.